The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey there, everyone. Paul James here. I'd like to officially welcome you to this awesome training webinar that we're putting together. I want you to give me a quick one in the chat box if you can hear me okay and see my screen okay. And I'm just getting a few more things set up here, so I'll wait till I see those ones and then I'll pop back in and we'll get going. All right, awesome. Lots of ones. So I like to find out before we do this and jump into it where everyone's calling in from. I'm actually out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I live out in a suburb, so I'm about 20 minutes away in West Bend, Wisconsin, and starting to get cold here. So that kind of sucks. Not looking forward to the snow falling. But where's everyone calling in from? Just go ahead and throw it in the chat box. Okay, we got Florida in the house. Awesome. I wish I was where you were right now. A lot better weather there. Another Florida, Mike. Washington State, David. See a lot of familiar faces here. Good to see. Midnight in the UK. Sorry about that. It's always hard to pick a webinar time because you have to pick a good time that fits for everyone. I know that everyone calls in from all over the world. We got David here from Australia too. So that's pretty late over there as well. Derek from Chicago, not too far from me. David from Croatia. Another Washington. Awesome. Dublin. Awesome. Very cool. Hey, Don. A lot of familiar faces tonight. Awesome. So let me just take a quick survey. I don't know how long of an intro I should do. How many people here know who I am already and who doesn't? So if you know who I am already, just put a yes in the chat box. If you don't know who I am, put a no. And we'll see how long of an intro I need to give. Okay. It's about 50-50. So I'm just going to do the short version of the intro, nothing too fancy. I'll just basically tell you kind of how I got started. So obviously you guys are here because you picked up my latest product, which talks about how to get clients. So that's kind of where I got started. I was working for a heating and air conditioning company. This is a short version of the story. I got laid off, went to school for nursing because I wanted to get a degree and figure out how I could get a job and start making some money. While I was in school, I had came across a way to make money online helping local business owners. And at the time, this is why I was driving, and I was actually living here in my brother's garage at the time. So not too fun, but within 3 years, I actually was able to purchase my first house, and see, I also picked up a new car too. So I'm not showing you this stuff to brag, just to show you kind of my background and what I've done. I actually did 6 figures in my very first year of doing this full time. So I decided I was going to drop out of nursing school and just go, head first into this and pursue it. So I just want to show when you set your mind to something, that's the kind of stuff you can achieve. And that's not promising that you're going to make anything or do anything compared to what I'm doing. I can't guarantee that. Obviously, the FTC would come after me, right, if I promised everyone that. But hard work does pay off. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. All right, so I want you guys to stay on. I'm going to be giving away free software at the end of this that's going to help you find a crap ton of leads. So you definitely want to stick around for that. So you guys are here because you want to find out how I'm making $1,000 per month for every client I pick up and what the heck I'm doing for them, right? Because now that you guys know how to get clients and you have a great method for doing that with Local Business Breach, you want to know what service to provide for them, right? So I'm going to take a poll real quick. I like to be very interactive with these webinars. So I'm near Grafton, Wisconsin. I did a search for dentist here in Google. And you'll notice some results here. We've got these ad spaces up at the top, right? They're marked by the yellow. And then we've got these ad spaces on the right here, again, marked by the yellow. But right here, we've got these local listings, they're called. And we actually refer to this commonly in the industry as a 7-pack. Because it usually shows 7 listings, but sometimes it'll show 3, sometimes it'll show 5. But in this case, we're seeing 7, right? And you'll notice there's the name, the address, and a phone number. So if you were looking at this, let's say you had a cavity and you needed to make a pretty quick decision because your tooth hurt on which dentist you were going to go to. So put it in the chat box. You can see they're marked by map markers A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So just put the letter of which dentist that you maybe would call, or at least that you would consider looking into a little bit further if you were to run this search. Okay, overwhelming number of people are saying B. So let me ask you, why are you guys choosing B over A? Why not call A, who's number one? Why are you choosing B? Okay, everyone says more reviews. Yep, the rating. So I wanted to show you this as an example because this is a service we're providing to clients. We're putting them into the 7-pack here on the first page of Google for their area, for their search term. And sometimes we do multiple search terms. And I wanted to point this out because you don't have to get them number one, right? There's so many low-hanging fruit areas, just like this one, where there's not many people in here who are standing out. Other than this guy right here, he's the only one, Kurt Kwiatkowski, right? So this low-hanging fruit is the kind of things that I look for. I look for 7-packs that don't have people who have a bunch of, star ratings. So this is what I look for. So hopefully that makes sense. Low-hanging fruit like this. I mean, quite honestly, if we were to come in here, this Kurt Kwiatkowski could probably be down here all the way at the bottom. And I bet you guys still would have told me that you would still have picked him because he just stands out. Okay. Don, that's a whole nother subject that we'll get into here. But that's a great question. So awesome. So why do we put businesses here versus, just ranking a website or whatever? That's the question I get asked most often. And the reason is because number one, it's a whole lot easier to rank someone here in this 7-pack. And the reason why is because you actually need a local address to do this. So you're not competing against everyone. You're only competing against other local business owners, which guess what? They really don't know too much about this stuff because they're busy running a local business. So unless they hire someone like me, or after this webinar, someone like you, that's pretty much your competition. I mean, I can say with certainty that we could come into this niche right here. We could absolutely dominate, okay? No question. The other reason why is because we just see tremendous results for our clients when we put them in here. We find that their phone just rings off the hook, and on average, they get between 30 and 50 calls per month when we place them here. It shows up on mobile devices, which is huge. And when it does show up on mobile devices, this phone number here actually turns into a tap to call button. And what that means is when they're looking on their phone, instead of having try and memorize a number and write it down on their hand or whatever, they can just click the button and it's automatically going to call. So it's pretty cool, and that's why we really like to go after stuff like this. So any questions on that, why we're going after this and what it is? I'm going to just go through the chat box really quick. Vinny, I see another similar question, and we'll get into that. Okay, cool. So let's talk about how we go about creating one of these listings. So first off, let's talk about this. Listings are verified and non-verified. I'm going to open one up to show you. So this Kurt Kwiatkowski, the one we all chose, do you see this little badge right here? It's right next to his profile picture, which I guess is the cavity bug. And it says verified local business. So verified local business means that they've gone ahead, they've told Google, hey, I'm the business owner and I want control over my listing because I actually care about my business and I want to go ahead and promote through this. So that's what a verified business means. We typically stay away from businesses who are in the 7-pack because I want to see, tremendous results for people. I want to get them on the first page. I don't want people who are already on the first page, although I could go after them if I wanted to, and I could work on getting them star ratings and stuff like that. But I really like to hit a home run and impress clients. So I go after people who have not verified their listing, and because they haven't verified their listing, chances are they're not going to be on the first page either. And I have a cool little software, which I told you I'm going to give you access to this at the end of the call. But this is it. So check this out. The way it works, and I've ran a search before we hopped on the call here just to save some time because I've got a lot of stuff to go over in this call. and a lot of stuff to teach you. But just to show you how it works, kind of a brief overview, you come into this tool. I'm going to give you access to this for free. I'm not going to charge you for this. We've spent thousands developing this software, so it is awesome, and I could charge probably hundreds for it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it to you free because you guys are a customer of mine, and I appreciate that. So you come in here, type in the keyword that you're after. So for example, plumber. You type in the location, and this will work in any area. So if you're in the UK, you can use this in the UK. It might show some United States areas when you start typing in the drop-down box, but you can just ignore that and just type it in anyway. So then you come over here, you hit search, and you can set how fast you want it to search. Over here, you see the set interval thing. I've got it set to 2 right now. So what it means is it's going to search Google for a new business every 2 seconds. And the reason we do that is because, when you search Google too fast, it starts pulling up those captchas, and then you're getting irritated and you have to type those stupid numbers and letters in. Well, this avoids that. So I normally leave my interval set to 2 or 3, and that avoids having to type in those captchas. But, if you notice you're starting to get captchas when you run it, you can just set it a little bit slower. But here, you'll notice what happens is I ran this search really quick. I let it run for maybe 5 minutes, and it pulled me 65 businesses, and I could have let it keep going, but I stopped it just for the sake of time. But you'll notice what happened was it gave me a list of a bunch of businesses here with listings, and you'll see this thing here, non-verified, verified, and show all. Well, remember I told you I'm looking for non-verified businesses to go after? Well, I can easily search by that and click non-verified. So now I've got a list of all the non-verified businesses. Well, not all because I didn't let it keep running, but you see here I got 31 of them who have not verified their plus listing. So they're not ranking, and I could get them ranked very easily. So in addition to that, I've got their business name, their address if I want to send them some mail. I've got their phone numbers. I've got their websites, and the software also goes out and it pulls every email address for them that it can find. You'll notice some commas after these. That's because it pulled multiple email addresses. So it's a pretty cool tool, and it really helps me determine what kind of clients I'm going to go after. So if I'm going to go with like the local business breach method, and I'm going to run a contest like Best Plumber in Madison, I would run the software and I would just pick out some non-verified businesses that after the contest is over, I'd like to work with. Is this sinking in, guys? Give me some yeses or nos in the chat box if this is making sense to you. Yes, Michael, this software works in Canada. It works anywhere. Okay, awesome. Seeing lots of yeses. So you guys seeing big potential in this? I mean, this stuff will make you some huge money if you guys take action on this. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I could export this into a CSV file if I wanted. So I'm not going to right now, but that's what you could do with it. So that being said, let's talk about how to actually provide this service now that you know how we're going to go about finding clients for it. So it all starts, we're going to head over to this URL, and you're going to need to be logged in at Gmail for this. You're going to head over to this URL. It's google.com/mybusiness. Now, I'm going to put this in the chat box for you. Mine looks a lot different than yours will. And the reason why is because I've already got a listing on this account. So I'm going to head up here and hit create a new page. And now you'll see this screen. This is the screen when you come to it that you're going to land on when you go to that URL I put in the chat box. So there's going to be 3 types of businesses that you can choose from this page. There's storefront, service area, and a brand. The brand part of it we're not going to ever really mess with. Pretty much we're just going to be working with service area or storefront. So let me break it down. Storefront is just kind of like it sounds like. We're talking about things like retail shops, like doctor's offices, like dentists. Service area, on the other hand, would be any kind of business where they're coming out to your house or they're going out to a location. They don't really have an office where people come in. So decide on what type of business your client is and then click that. So I'm going to go with service area for this example. So you see from here, it's going to bring up a map. And this is the start to doing some research on the business owner. So let's say I'm going to show you the different the different scenarios we come up with. Say we're working with someone, and I'm going to type in a phone number to search for them. So I'm going to type in this phone number and hit search. So here their name comes up, right? Let's say this was the client that I maybe was bringing on. If I click their listing here, you're going to notice scenario number 1 says that someone else has already verified this listing. So this would be, an example of where the software, when it pulled non-verified, maybe you went after someone who had already verified their listing. So that's still okay, but in that scenario, if they're not ranking yet, you're going to need to request admin rights over their listing so that you can do some work on it. So what happens is when you click this blue button, they're going to get an email sent out to them, and it's basically just going to say, hey, Paul's requesting access to your listing and wants to manage it. They just click the link and boom, you're in. So that's scenario number 1. And if you're using my software to pull non-verified businesses and you're just going to go after these guys, you're probably not going to see that scenario very often. But I still wanted to show it to you. The other scenario looks like this. I've got some numbers here that I'm looking at. These are phone numbers. You could also type in the business's address or name, and it might find it that way too. But okay, so in this example, it looks the same, right? But something different happens. When I click it, it's going to show this screen. So this is the one you'll probably see a lot, especially if you're using the software. This is a non-verified listing. So we need to verify this. We need to tell Google, hey, we're the authorized person to manage this business. So we'll click this thing here and then we'll hit continue. And don't do this before you talk with the business owner and make sure they want to work with you. I shouldn't be clicking that on their listing, but it's really the only way I can show you how this works. So you'll be presented with this screen. They're gonna get you to start the verification process. So sometimes, and this is awesome when they do this, they give you the option to have Google call you with a PIN number. And so what you'll do is you'll tell your client, hey, I'm gonna have Google call you right now. Grab a notepad and pen and write down the PIN number they give you, and then call me back with it. And then you'll just punch it in. The other option, sometimes it doesn't show the call option. The other option they sometimes show is mail me my code. And with this option, they send a postcard in the mail, and it'll have the PIN number on it. And you can do it that way. And then you come back in and enter it in. Okay, so that's the second scenario you'll see. Probably the most common if you're using the software, because those are the kind of clients you're going to get. But there's one other scenario I want to show you. So the other scenario is that when you type in their phone number or address, nothing comes up. It says I've correctly entered the name and address. Let me enter the full details. So we'll click that, and now it's going to let you actually go in and create a listing from scratch because nothing was found, nothing was listed. So this happens when you work with someone who you didn't find off of the software. They just maybe word of mouth or referral, or maybe you're getting clients some other way. We use lots of different methods to get clients, so we see this method quite a bit. But what you would do is you'd come in here and type in their business name. So we'll just say it's Bob's HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Punch in the street address. Now, there's one rule that I really want to make sure you understand, and that is this. You cannot use a P.O. box for this method, okay? Has to be a physical address. So if your client runs a business out of their home, then use their home address, or rent an office or something. Borrow a friend's address. You have to have a physical address, so you cannot use a P.O. box. So punch that in here. Say 123 Water Street. If they're like in a big office building, like a lot of times doctors are, sometimes they'll have suites, right? So that can go on the next line. You can either just spell out the word suite and put the number 1, or you could put the number sign 1 like that. That's fine too. Otherwise, just leave it blank. And we'll put the city. We're going to put the state. And we're going to put the zip code. Wrong zip code. Okay, there we go. Phone number here. All right, there we go. So there's this section here now, category. With Google, they have certain categories that they already have established, and they want you to use those. So it's really, really important that you do some research at this stage to identify what categories they have available for the business you're working with, And the way you do that is you just start typing in basically what you think that business would be under. So for example, since I'm working with a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company, I might just start typing in the words HVAC, and you'll notice from the drop-down menu here that they have the category HVAC contractor available. So what I like to do is I like to keep a notepad next to me, and I like to just write them down on a notepad, because when we go and build out a website, or if we modify their existing website so that this listing ranks properly, we're going to want to emphasize these categories on the website. So write them down. The next one I might try is heating. So I just typed in the word heat, and I'm presented with some drop-down options. So heating contractor, heating equipment supplier, heating oil supplier. So heating contractor might fit Bob's HVAC. I might write that down. If I type in air conditioning, here we got air conditioning contractor, air conditioning repair service, both of which I think would fit great for Bob's HVAC. So I might write those down too. On the flip side, if I type in furnace, we got furnace part supplier, furnace repair service, furnace store. And again, I just write down whichever one's fit. So when you create a new listing, you have to stick with just one to start with. But once you start the verification process, you can come back in and you can add in as many as you want. So definitely go through, find every relevant category, whether that's 2 categories or whether that's 10, find them all, write them down, and then you'll use that later. So here's the other option. There's a box here. I deliver goods and services to my customers at their location. So that means, like an HVAC company, they're going out to the customer's house to provide the service, right? So they would check this box. On the other hand, like a dentist may not, because they're not visiting customers. So we'll go ahead and hit continue now. All right, we got another option here. So I deliver goods and service. I deliver my goods and services too. You can either come in here and punch in every zip code that the business services, like that, or a much easier way, which I typically like to do, is I just enter in the radius that they service around their business. So, maybe within a 20-mile radius of my business. And some businesses will also serve customers at their business address. A good example of that would be maybe like a flower shop, right? They're going to have people coming in and buying arrangements, but they're also going to be delivering stuff, for Valentine's Day, for funerals, for weddings, that type of thing. So they might check both of these. But in this case, we're not going to check both. So we'll hit continue. All right, so now we're going to get this page again. It's just going to confirm what we punched in, confirm we're authorized to manage the page, and we hit continue. And we're going to be presented with our verification options now. Now, when you create a new listing, you're almost always presented with just the postcard option. So again, you would click this. If you want to put this to someone's attention, you can. I might put this to attention Robert. Maybe that's the owner of Bob's HVAC. And then I would just hit send postcard. So, let your client know that they're going to be getting this within, 1 to 2 weeks. And when they do, they should call you with a PIN number or email it to you, or however you want to handle it. But that's usually what we do. Okay, so those are the different scenarios. That's how you would go and create the listing and research the categories. I'll just go through questions really quick, and then we'll jump into more stuff. We're already almost, 25 minutes in. So we got quite a bit more to cover. So I don't want to take too much time answering questions, but I'll answer whatever we have now, and then we'll come back at the end. Michael, you'll have to try that URL. I think you can still use the .com though, but just try it and see what happens. See if it comes up the same or not. I think it'll come up fine if you use the .com though. Is it more efficient to just search the business up, go to their Google Plus page and see if it's verified yet? I don't think so, Vinny, because you're able to pull all the results at once, which is a lot easier. So that's why we did it this way. Doing it manually takes a long time. Okay, good question that Keith has. Keith says, what happens when you claimed your listing, but there's no block of 7 for your niche? So he's referring to the 7-pack here. So you don't want to go after clients who don't have a 7-pack. So I'll see if I can find, if I typed in like basket weaving, for example, right? The classic internet marketing niche, right? Right? There's no 7-pack. So this basket weaving niche isn't going to be very helpful. We're not going to be helpful to this company. So we're not going to go after people in this industry. So do that research first. Make sure that it actually does pull up local listings. And if you want to change your area, I think you might need to be logged in to do this. But usually under the search bar, there might be this search tools thing here. And you can see there's a location tab here. If you click that, you can actually set your location to wherever you want. So like I could search Waukesha, which is near me. And now it's going to pull up dentists in Waukesha. So there we go. So there's a 7-pack for dentists in Waukesha. Still pretty wide open niche, right? I mean, there's only 3 people in here who have star ratings. So could still probably come in here and do pretty well. Great question, Keith. I'm glad you asked that. Vinny, I like to go in each business that I work with, I like to set up on a new account. So I create a new Gmail account every time I work with a new client. And we're going to talk about tracking phone numbers. I think it's important that you use a tracking phone number when you set this up. Number one is when you start setting up Gmail accounts, they might want to verify via phone number when you set up the account. They just do that to avoid spammers. So what I do is I use a tracking phone number to do that from CallFire, and they have a voice option on Google when you verify the email address. And tracking phone numbers are cheap. They're like $3 one-time fee, and then it's like $1 per month after that. So they're really cheap. And what it allows you to do as the best benefit to this is, number one, it allows you to maintain ownership over the phone number. So instead of using their phone number here, I would come in and swap that out with a tracking phone number if I worked with this client. The reason why is because I can tell who called, when they called, how long they stayed on the phone for, and it allows me to print off a report if Bob's HVAC ever comes back and questions, the quality of work that I'm providing for them. I can say, look, Bob, I print off you a report here, and I sent you 35 calls this month or whatever. So it really helps cover your back, and it helps just really prove what you're doing and know what's working. So I highly recommend you go into a service like CallFire and register a number and do it that way. CallFire works in the US. If you're outside of the US, Twilio, that's Twilio, would be a good option for you. Otherwise, you just go into Google and search for call tracking. I will try to have a replay out. I'm not sure if it's going to convert properly. I have been having problems with GoToWebinar converting, so I would recommend staying on. Also, I'm going to give you access to that free software when you stay on. But yeah, I'll try to have a replay up, of course. I always do. Okay. You definitely want a tracking number, Yvonne. And we're going to talk about citations and that in a minute. But it's definitely, you want your tracking number to be on the business's citations and all of that stuff too. So typically what I do to make sure I'm picking out a good tracking number is I come into Google, and let's say I was working in the city of West Bend. I would type that into Google, West Bend, WI. And I look for the city's website, and I click on it. And I normally look under the departments tab, and I try to look for a phone number. So you might find it under building inspection or administration. But somewhere you'll find a phone number, and here it is. 262-335 is a phone number. So CallFire will let you pick out the area code, and they'll also let you pick out the first 3 digits sometimes too. So I like to punch those in there, although they might not match exactly what they are. It's going to try to give you a phone number as close to the city as possible. And I figure that, the city's website is probably going to have a phone number listed that's actually within the city. So that's my thinking behind that. I also take one other precautionary measure. And I'd like to make sure that before I actually pick up the phone number from CallFire, I like to make sure that no other business had it registered. And the way I do that is just a simple Google search. Take the phone number, punch it in, and hit search. And I just look. I mean, you're going to see, these stupid directory sites where they have every possible phone number combination listed. Not a big deal. What would worry me is if I saw, like a bunch of results for Bob's Plumbing or something. Then I would know that Bob's Plumbing had that phone number before me, and I don't want that number then. So just some good tips for you, that you should definitely take my advice and use that. So let's talk about the actual website. It was important to write down all those categories because you want to structure your website a certain way. And I've got my site structure out here. So when it comes to a website, I normally like to build out a brand new website. I don't like to touch my customer's existing website. And the reason why is for a couple different reasons. The most important reason being because I consider the website an asset. If the business owner ever doesn't pay me my $1,000 per month fee, I can easily disconnect the website from their Google listing or whatever, disconnect the phone number from it, and I can take that website and all the work that I did to it, and I can go to their competitor, connect it to their listing, and bam, we're back in business. And the person that I was working with, when I disconnect the website, they're going to de-rank because all the work we did on the website is no longer going to apply to their listing. So that being said, it's important that when you build out a new website, you grab a domain name that is branded generically. So for example, if you're working with Bob's Plumbing and they have bobsplumbing.com, you're not going to want to go after something that has their business name in it. Go after something generic like reliableplumber.com or something like that. Because that can fit under anyone. You can still brand the website, like the inside of the website. You could still have Bob's logo. You could still have pictures of Bob and his company. But if Bob ever decides not to pay you, that stuff you can easily swap out. So that's why we do that. So we keep the asset of the website and the phone number. It's kind of like buying a house and leasing it out, right? It's the same kind of thing. So that being said, we do a lot of work on the website. And what I want you to think of when you look at this page that I have up in front of you may look a little daunting because there's a lot to look at, right? But what I want you to think of is each box that you see, think of that like a page on the site. And then each arrow, I want you to think of that as a link going to wherever it's pointing to. So if this is my home page, I'm going to have links going out to each one of these pages. All right, and then this page is going to have a link going to this one, and then this link is going to have this page is going to have a link going to this one, so on and so forth. So what I do is I write articles on each page about first my main Google Plus category on my home page, and then right below that, I create separate pages for each other Google Plus category that I have, and I write articles about that. So my home page is going to have links going to each 3 of my Google Plus categories in this scenario. And you can map this out, just using a notepad, just take it and draw it out. So obviously Google doesn't give us exact keywords that we might want. There might be other keywords that we think are important. So that's why we have these purple boxes. In these purple boxes, I fill in keywords that I still think the customer should try and rank for, because there'll be keywords that still pull up 7-packs. Like for example, if I were to type in heating and cooling, and I typed it in wrong. If I were to type in heating and cooling Milwaukee, we pull up a 3-pack here. So because it still pulls up a 3-pack, although this wasn't a category, I still might want to try and rank for that, right? They still might get some business from that. So that's the logic behind that. So we go in and we find those keywords and we put those into whatever category we think they'll fit best under. So this is called a silo, and we tried out a lot of different silos. This is just the one that's working out best for us. So if you want to do some quick keyword research to fill out the rest of that chart, obviously you know how to research the categories, and you know that the categories are going in these orange boxes at the top. But you might not know how to find these purple boxes and pick out good keywords. So I'll just give you a really rough, fast version of keyword research. I just use AdWords. Just go to adwords.google.com. They have this free keyword tool, right? Come under Tools, Keyword Planner. And we're just going to come and go under Search for New Keyword and Ad Group Ideas. And what we're going to do is, where it says Targeting All Locations, we're going to hit Edit on there. We're going to type in our location. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick out 4 other cities that are nearby, because we just kind of want to do a check around the surrounding area. I've noticed that when Google shows the data for local traffic, that it typically seems to be somewhat inaccurate because I don't think they have enough data on it, because local stuff doesn't get searched as much as like huge national keywords, right? So I like to pull the data in from surrounding towns too, which is why I do this. So you could look at a map if you're not familiar with the area you're working in and just pull the cities, but I'm obviously familiar with my hometown, so I'm just going to type them in quick. Okay, just like that. So there we go. I've got 5 of them in there total. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start by typing in my Google Plus categories, which is why it's important you wrote them down. Okay, after I've got my Google Plus categories in there, I'm also going to punch in keywords I think people might type in, like that heating and cooling, right? That seems reasonable. If someone was interested in getting a new furnace, they might type in heating and cooling, or they might type in heating company, right? Or they might type in heating contractor. Actually, I think I already had that one. They might type in heating companies or air conditioning repair. Right? So I would just come up with as many as I can in this box. Then I would come down and hit get ideas. Okay, so we're going to come over to this keyword ideas tab. So there's 2 columns we're going to look at here. And this top box is exactly what we just typed in on the last page. Then the box below it, Google says, well, hey, because you typed in this stuff up here, we think you might also be interested in this stuff. So let me explain to you what we're looking at. We're going to fill in this chart, the purple boxes, which are going to go under our Google Plus categories. We're going to fill them in order of importance, meaning most important keyword is going to go towards the top of the purple box, and least important keywords are going to go towards the bottom. And we're also going to keep it categorized. So, we wouldn't want to put a furnace keyword underneath the air conditioning Google Plus category, right? So if we had a gas furnace repair as a keyword, we'll put that under the furnace repair service category rather than putting under like air conditioning repair. Make sense? So keep it relevant, but order it in the order of most importance. Google Plus categories, most important, and then put your least important keywords at the bottom. So how do we determine what's more important? Well, we do it by these 2 columns, the average monthly searches column and the suggested bid column. So average monthly searches, that means how many times someone's actually like typing it in, right? And this is the number that I feel isn't so accurate. It almost always shows 10 when they don't have enough data, or it'll show a little dash like that little hyphen. So that's why I had you type in the surrounded areas, because there's also another column we're going to look at, and that's the suggested bid column. So let me explain to you what this means. You see this big number here, $55.19 for air conditioning repair? That means every time someone goes into Google, types in air conditioning repair, and they're from one of the locations we typed in, and let's say they click on one of these ads on the top here or on the right-hand side, that person who's running that ad, they're going to get billed approximately $55.19. Is that crazy or what? That tells me what? It tells me that if people are willing to pay such a crazy amount for a keyword like that, that it must be a pretty darn good keyword, right? So I look at those 2 columns. I mean, look at that, $18, $18.57, $13.68. So I order it out by most important, meaning they're paying a lot more money versus by paying a little amount of money, and I order them out here on this sheet. Okay, so that's how you want to structure your website with this stuff. I'm just going to go through questions now. Just take a quick little break to recoup what we've gone over. Hopefully this is making sense, and I'll answer some questions and we'll keep going. We got a lot more to cover still. Yeah, Freddie, I'm going to try to get a replay up for you. Definitely stick around though, because I'm going to give you access to this free software at the end of the webinar. All right, thanks, Robert. We'll catch you later. I like to list my domains as private. Okay, it costs like an extra $7 to do that, but I like to list it as private. So good question. It's really preference though. Okay, Keith, what exactly am I guaranteeing to the client? I'm guaranteeing to get them more business. Okay, I'm gonna get their phone ringing. So if I'm not making them enough money to pay me $1,000 per month, I'm not doing my job. And I get their phone ringing by placing them here in the 7-pack. All right, awesome. Looks like we got all the questions answered so far. So that being said, once you have your site mapped out, you can start creating it. We just use WordPress. WordPress is easy, right? I mean, you go in, set up a quick blog. This is what our sites typically look like. I'll show you kind of how they start. We typically just start them out like this, and then we throw our pages where they link together, because remember I showed you here how each page links together. So here's my Google Plus categories, right? Well, here they are. They'd be listed at the bottom of the page like this. And they all go together. They all link to the next one. And the way they link to the next one is determined by the arrow here, in order of importance to least important. So use this as a template to map out your own structure and do your own keyword research. And then, just throw together a WordPress site. Okay, so a lot of people were asking about citations. All right, so let me go back to here. A citation is simply this. It's the business's name, the business's address, and the business's phone number listed on another website, typically like a local directory site, like here's Yellow Pages or Angie's List or Merchant Circle or Yelp. Those are all local directory sites. Those are citations. So Google looks at how many citations a business owner has, and they say, hey, Quality Heating and Sheet Metal here maybe has 50 citations, whereas Advanced Auto Air Conditioning only has 10. So we're going to put them up at the top, and we're going to put them down here because of that. So that's what it looks at. So a cool thing to do, and this site was giving me some problems earlier, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to demonstrate this to you or not. And we're working on building out our own tool that does this and does a whole lot more. But it's in the works. But what you can do is you can come into here. You can punch in your search term and your location, and it's not going to work. But unfortunately, the site's down, so I can't show you it. But I can give you a link to it, and you can go try it out yourself tomorrow or something. But what it does is it basically lists off every single citation that your competitor has, and that lets you go after that citation. So I'll put that in the chat box. Fortunately, that's not working. I really wish it would have been working, but it's not. So I'll show you basically what it's like to create a citation. And it's important that when you're setting up a tracking phone number, that you use the tracking phone number on the citation. So if a business owner has a citation that exists, go back and change it and put in your tracking phone number. But here's what the typical citation creation process looks like. This is a site called Hot Frog, and it's one that we commonly find that our competitors have citations on. So we would go to Hot Frog, we'd click Add Your Business, and we'd fill in our client's business name, address, city, state, zip code, all that good stuff. Website, sometimes they have websites. They'll have sections that are called keyword. Sometimes this is referred to as tags, but the bottom line for this section, you want to put in your Google Plus categories. So put them in exactly as they show in Google. In my case, it would have been that HVAC contractor, heating contractor, all that stuff. I would put those in here. Then we create a login. I normally just use the business owner's name. I use the email address that I set up for them, and I hit submit, and that's it. It creates the citation. So, depending on how many citations your competition has, and like I said, this tool will help you figure that out. And it's not up right now, but it should be by tomorrow. We use it, pretty often. So you'll know which citations to go after. It'll give you a list of exactly which ones to go after. Now, if you've got an area where your competition has, let's say, 40 citations, right? That could be a lot of work, right? To go in there and create 40 listings. Well, obviously that's one of the reasons we're getting paid $1,000 a month, is because there is actual work to do. But there is ways to make this easier, and you can outsource this. And I've got this person on Fiverr. I'll give you a link to this too. Put that in the chat box 1 second. Okay, excuse me. I've got this person on Fiverr I use, and she'll do 7 local directories for $5 for you. You can give her the list from Whitespark, and she'll do those exact ones. But she also has this gig extra here. It says that she'll do 45 listings in all, and it's an extra $20. So it'll be $25. She'll do 45 listings for you. You can be done with it, right? So this is who I use. I recommend her to, everyone who I teach this to, and I don't get anything from it. I'm not affiliated with her, but she just does really good work. I've been using her for 2 years or so. So that's how that works. Any questions on citations? I'm just going through questions here, so that's why I'm quiet right now. Just give me 1 second to go through the chat box, and if you have a question, go ahead and put it in. No, Michael, she does not optimize the listing, so that you would have to do that with what I'm teaching you right now on this call. She just does the citations. Be nice if she could do it all, right? Yeah, Xavier, I can explain what a citation is again. A citation is simply the business's name, the business's address, and the business's phone number listed on another website, like maybe Hot Frog or Yelp. Terry, it is important. Reputation is definitely important. That's how these ratings are showing up. You need to have this star rating. That's important. So you definitely want to make sure that the business owner has some good reviews coming in. Eugene wants to know about articles for the keyword. Articles for the keyword, I usually have written by iWriter, and I can give you a link to that. It is, I think it's pauljames.com/iWriter. Nope, it is. Okay, I'll have to give you a link, but it's iWriter. Otherwise, you can just Google search it. Okay, is there a right way to address this type of business to a potential client? The way I address it is basically, we're going to put you on the first page of Google for your area, and we're going to attempt to get you 30 plus calls per month. It's basically a matter of, do you need more business? And normally that answer is always yes, and great, I can help you with that. Okay, so once you have your business verified, keep in mind, while you're waiting for that postcard to come, you could have been doing all this stuff in the meantime, all this website optimization and the citations. Do all that stuff in the meantime. But once the business is verified, you'll want to come into the page, and you do this by going to that same URL, google.com/mybusiness, and it'll take you here. But then you come in here and hit edit. And what I like to do is, right now you see this says 100% complete. That's what your goal is. You want to get that to say 100% complete. But what I like to do is I like to go to my competitors' Google Plus pages. And I like to look at, well, how many photos do they have? They have 3 photos, 1, 2, 3. So I know that I want to put in at least 3 photos into my listing because I'm competing against them. So I'll come in here, edit my contact info, switch this out and put in my tracking phone number, connect my new website, not associated with them because, again, we'd want to hold on to our own asset. I would punch in the rest of my categories here. You just add another and punch them in until you have as many as you can handle. You can punch in your hours here. Okay, punch those in here. You can add in your photos. Again, we talked about that. I like to add in at least 5 photos, but if my customer has, let's say 13, then I'm going to try and go and add in 14 or 15. I want to outdo them. And then this is a spot for just a little introduction. Use this to put in a paragraph or 2 about the company, who they are, that kind of thing. And that should get you at 100%, which is basically the listing optimization. Okay, I'm just going through questions again. Yeah, Greg, we'll post a replay. I'll also email it out. Yes, so the reviews show up here in Google. They're going to show up right here, and it's easy for a customer to leave a review. So basically, they just come in here, go to the About tab, and hit Write a Review, and they can get their review posted there. So it's important that you tell your customer they have to get these reviews in there. Whether they need to have their friends help them get the reviews in there, or have their customers do it. Call up their best customers and have them do it. However they need to do it, but you got to get the reviews in there. You want to trigger a 5-star rating. And typically to trigger a 5-star rating, we're noticing it takes 5 reviews. So, everyone can get 5 reviews. That's typically not an issue. Okay, Keith, you've got access over the Plus listing. So, that's usually not an issue. Okay, great question. Terry says he might not be comfortable charging a business $1,000 per month right off the bat. Well, charge them whatever you're comfortable with, but I really think you'd be doing yourself, a disservice by not charging $1,000, because it definitely is worth that. Let's consider a dentist. I was at the dentist a couple of years ago to get a root canal, and they charged me $1,700 for that root canal. Now, out of 30 calls, there's probably a good chance that they might land a few root canals, right? Let's just say 4, just to pick a number out of there. So let's say they land 4 root canals at $1,700. We're talking $6,800 for that. Now, do you think they're going to have any problem paying you $1,000 per month when you're getting them that kind of business? Not at all. And if you're not getting them that kind of business, then I might consider dropping my price down. I don't haggle over price. If they're not getting $1,000 worth of leads, or well over that in order to pay me $1,000, then I just drop my price down, drop it to $500 or $750 or whatever I need to. Because once it's ranked in an area that's not super competitive, once it's ranked, you're not typically doing much else anymore. Sometimes you'll check on the citations and make sure that, that you have enough citations, and check on the pictures and make sure you don't need to add in more pictures. But for the most part, maintenance is easy on this stuff, especially if you go after the low-hanging fruit like I showed you. Okay, so the Google Plus and the domain for a new account should have the same name. No. So the Google Plus is going to be the business owner's business name. The domain name you want to be generic. So for Quality Heating and Sheet Metal, I wouldn't want to create a domain name that has their business name in it. I would want it to just be something like, heatingpros.com or something. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Any other questions here? Okay, Terry. Yeah, no problem. Extra training on this. Okay, so I do have an opportunity for you to get this stuff going, and I have a mentoring program. So I want to ask you a question, though. I don't know if you guys have a notepad in front of you, but if you do, you might want to write this down. Otherwise, make a mental note of this. Let me ask you a question. How many clients do you need? Our average client pays us $1,000 per month. How many clients like that do you need to, live the lifestyle you want to live? Or if it's quit your job, how many do you need to quit your job? I want you to answer that question. If you want to put it in the chat box, you can. If you want to keep it to yourself, that's fine too. But I like to think of things in terms of like that. How many clients do you need to really, live the lifestyle you want? At $1,000 per month, that means, your average client's paying you $12,000 a year. So what does it take to hit 6 figures if you want to hit 6 figures? 10 clients, 8 to 10 clients, right? So think about that. How many clients do you need? Right? Is this sounding doable to you guys? I see a lot of people are putting in, 8, 9, 10 clients. That's doable, right? My first year in doing this, I picked up 10 clients. All right. And I was making more at that point than if I would have graduated from nursing school and became a nurse. And that's why, I was really glad that I chose the path I did, because this is achievable. All right, this definitely is achievable. So I have a mentoring program, and I work with a few students, every other month or so, to help them get extraordinary results. We work one-on-one together, and I can show you some testimonials I got recently from this program. I'll just go over a few of them. I get tons of emails like these all the time, and I've been trying to screenshot them so that I can show people, because people always ask. But check it out. I mean, this person said, "Oh my God, I got my first client. Hey, Paul, just want to thank you. I finally landed my first client." So that was from coaching. This is a Facebook message from one of my students. Learned a lot from our call. I actually picked up a new client with the knowledge I learned, so thanks. Here's another one. This person was in Asia, okay? So I taught them how to set up a client getting funnel where they didn't really have to talk to anyone. They didn't have to cold call or hard sell. And in Asia, they landed a client in the United States. I believe it was in New York. They landed a plumber. So they say, if they can do this well in Asia, anyone can do this. So that's pretty cool. Here's one I got just 3 days ago. I just screenshotted this one. They just landed a $1,500 job this afternoon. Used my training for that. So people are doing this, guys. This isn't something that's out of your reach. These are average people who are just like you and me, who didn't know anything when they started, and we worked together one-on-one and built out this business for them. So here's the deal. And before I give you the link to this, I want you to really think about this hard, because I only have a few spots, and I don't want you to take a spot from someone who maybe would really need this and is ready for this. If you're not ready for this, I totally understand. Obviously, since it's my one-on-one time, the price is going to be more money than if I just gave you a video course, right? This isn't your $7 video course here, because I'm working with you one-on-one. So the price range of this is in the low four figures. So whether you need to find a credit card or find someone to borrow you the money, that's maybe what you have to do if this is something you want to participate in. That being said, a lot of people come out of this program with a client or two and recoup their investment back within the program. The program runs 6 weeks, so it's really great. You can see by the testimonials we've had a lot of great success with it, and something I really enjoy doing. Also, that being said, I mean, there's only one of me, okay? So I can only work with a few of you guys, and I'm going to try to fit in as many as I can. So here's the link. Again, keep in mind, this isn't for everyone. It's pauljames.com/VIP, and we'll go ahead and show you where that takes you. Let me open up a window here. Okay, pauljames.com/VIP. This is going to take you to the coaching application. I want you to fill this out as honestly as you can, and this is just to determine if I can help you. I mean, obviously I can't help everyone, but I'm going to pick out the people that I think I can really help, and we're going to get on a call together. We're going to hop on the phone. We're going to talk about what you're working on right now, maybe why things haven't worked for you, and just to see if I can help you and see if you're a good fit for the program. So if you are a good fit for the program, I am going to offer it to you. And again, it is in the low four-figure price range. We will discuss price once we determine if I can even help you or not. But I just want you to know, if you fill out the application, I am taking that as your commitment that, if we determine we're a good fit together, we are going to pull the trigger and we're going to make this happen for you. Okay? So again, ask yourself this question: how many clients do you need? All right, how many clients do you need to live that lifestyle? And I will say again, a lot of people come out of the program picking up a client or two, and they do recoup that investment from their coaching within the 6 weeks. So, and obviously that's not everyone. There's going to be people who, don't take action or they get sick. But I show you quite a few emails from a lot of people who did recoup their investment, and that's awesome. Okay. I'm just going through questions here. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat box. Now's the time. I'm going to grab a sip of water and then I'll go through them. Yeah, Rob. So if you're chosen for coaching, we're going to work together over 6 weeks, one-on-one. The way it's set up is we get on webinars. and we go over stuff and we set up things step by step. So you're going to see my screen and I'm going to say basically do this, do that. I'm going to give you homework assignments. So you're basically not going to be given an option to fail because I'm going to be on you, hounding you, do this, do this, do this. And it's not information overload. This is the biggest problem I see people have is they have what's called, the information overload. They're thrown into a video course where there's, 25 modules and it just sits on the hard drive, right? How many people are guilty of having the video sit on the hard drive? I know I'm guilty of it. I've done it tons of times. Well, with coaching, that doesn't happen because you're not given everything at once. So we're going to work together to rank a listing together. So that's what we're going to spend 3 weeks on, is ranking a listing together. So you're going to have, that listing ranked. You're going to have proof. You're going to see calls coming in, leads coming in. And then we're going to spend 3 weeks together actually getting clients. So we're going to set up the funnel that I use, and we're going to get you clients coming in, coming to you, clients who are interested in working with you. And, we're going to turn them into buyers. And that's how it works. I mean, it's really a great coaching program. And that's why the results, speak for themselves, and why people write in testimonials, because it's just really broken out into a nice, easy to digest way. Thomas, pretty much any business model this will work for, or any business type. I really prefer skilled trades, just because they do a lot of volume usually. So they have a lot of people they're working with, like heating and air conditioning, roofing. They do a lot of high ticket jobs when it comes to installing furnaces and stuff like that. I also like working with the dentists, like I said. I've worked with attorneys. You name it. They're really, as long as it pulls up a 7-pack, it's a great niche to work with. So, yeah. So access to the free software. Again, if you guys want to work together, this is the link to do that. So if it's for you, if you can come up with, an investment to help change, your financial situation, and you're ready to pull the trigger and ready to take things serious, then I'd love to talk with you further and see if we're a good fit to work together. But I did want to give you access to that free software like I promised. Again, this is absolutely free. I put it in the chat box there. It's pauljames.com/free lead finder. And this software is 100% free. It's Adobe Air based, which means it's going to run on your Mac. It's going to run on your Windows just fine. You just need to make sure you have Adobe Air installed. And I have installation instructions after you come in here and download it. But you have access to that for free. And I thank you for attending this webinar and for being, a great customer. And I appreciate you. And I look forward to speaking with some of you about coaching. And I look forward to working with some of you. So thanks again. Are there any other questions before we wrap up? Yeah, we will try to get a replay out for you, definitely. The free software link is in the chat box. It's pauljames.com/free lead finder. You guys see it in the chat box? I'll put it in one more time for you. Let me know if you see that link now. Awesome. Yeah, you're welcome, Vinny. I'm glad you liked it. Awesome. All right, guys, we'll catch you later, and thanks again.